All right, welcome. Today, we are tackling a topic that I know might sound a little dry, but I promise you it is one of the most important and actually fascinating parts of any major project. We're doing a full overview of Clause 13 from the FIDIC Red Book 2017, and we're using the incredible guide by Michael D. Robinson to help us. Now look, construction contracts doesn't exactly scream excitement, right? But think of it this way. What if you're building a massive Lego castle and halfway through you decide it absolutely needs a secret moat with a dragon? How do you change the plan without the whole thing falling apart? Well, that's exactly what Clause 13 is for.
Now, I know what you're thinking. An entire clause just for adjustments? This is going to be complicated. But trust me, it's not. My promise to you is that we're going to break this down so simply that anyone could get it. We're going to make it clear, we're going to make it fun, and by the end of this, you'll feel like a pro on Clause 13. So are you ready to jump in? Let's do this.
Okay, to make this all super easy to follow, we're sticking with our epic Lego castle project. On our team, we have 3 key players, and we're going to use their official FIDIC names. First up, we've got the employer. That's the person who wants the amazing castle in the first place. Then, there's the engineer. Think of them as the master architect who's in charge of all the official plans. And finally, we have the contractor, the master builder who's physically putting all those Lego bricks together. Got it? Employer, engineer, contractor. Easy.
So let's kick things off with Section 1. Think of Clause 13 as the official rulebook for making changes. Its entire job is to make sure that when someone wants to add that moat or change a tower, it happens in a smooth, fair way without causing a massive argument between everybody on the team.
First thing we gotta know is the key word here, variation. It sounds a bit formal, but all it really means is any official change to our original Lego castle plan. So, you want to use more bricks in the wall? That's a variation. You decide you want shiny gold bricks instead of the plain gray ones? Yep, that's a variation. You want to make one of the towers taller? You know it. It's a variation.
So here's a huge question. Who actually has the power to make these changes? Can the employer, the person paying for everything, just walk onto the site and tell the builder to start digging a moat? Absolutely not. The rules are crystal clear on this. Only the engineer can officially order a variation. This keeps everything organized. The employer tells the engineer what they want, and the engineer gives the official instruction to the contractor. And once that order comes from the engineer, the contractor pretty much has to do it. It's part of the deal. But, and this is a really important but, the contractor isn't a robot. They can object for a few very specific, very good reasons. Like if the change is totally impossible to build, or if they literally can't get their hands on the special Lego bricks required, or, and this is a big one, if building the change would be unsafe or harmful.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. Now, what happens if the contractor, the person working with the bricks day in and day out, has a totally brilliant idea? And what are the exact official steps everyone needs to follow when a change is actually made? This is where the process gets really clever.
This right here is one of my favorite parts of the whole contract, value engineering. This is where the contractor gets to be the hero. If they come up with an amazing idea that can make the castle better, get it built faster, or, best of all, save the employer a bunch of money, they can propose it. And here's the kicker. If their idea gets used and it saves money, the contractor gets to split the savings with the employer, 50-50. How cool is that? It's a huge incentive to be innovative.
So the rulebook gives us 2 main ways to actually make a change happen. First, you've got a variation by instruction. This is like a direct command. The engineer says, build a new moat, and the contractor gets to work. But then there's the variation by request for proposal. This is more like a question. The engineer says, hey, what would it take to build a moat? Give me a full plan and tell me what it would cost. The contractor then prepares a whole proposal before any building starts.
And the process for that proposal is spelled out very clearly. Once the engineer asks for it, the contractor typically has 28 days to get back with all the important details. This isn't just a quick guess. They need to provide a solid description of the new work, show exactly how it's going to affect the overall project schedule, and of course give a proposed price for making the change. It's all about making sure everyone knows exactly what they're getting into.
Which of course brings us perfectly to Section 3. Let's talk about the money. This is obviously where things can get tricky, but don't worry, Clause 13 has a super clear roadmap for how to pay for all these changes, from little piggy banks hidden in the contract to totally unexpected new costs. First up, we have something called provisional sums. Honestly, the easiest way to think about this is like a secret piggy bank. It's an amount of money that was put into the contract from the very beginning for stuff we know we'll probably want but haven't designed yet, like that cool, mysterious dragon's lair. And the only person with the key to this piggy bank is the engineer. They decide when and how that money gets spent.
Next, there's day work. So what happens when you need a small, quick job done that's just really hard to put a price on beforehand? That's where day work comes in. It's basically a system for paying the contractor by the hour for their workers and for the tools they use. And it's all based on a list of rates that everyone agreed to before the project even started. It's perfect for handling those small, urgent surprises.
Okay, but what if something changes that's completely outside of anyone's control? Well, the Rulebook has an answer for that. There's a section for adjustments for changes in laws. So let's say a new law comes out after the project starts that makes things more expensive, like a new safety rule that says all Lego figures must now wear tiny government-approved hard hats. Well, the contract price gets adjusted to cover that new cost. It keeps things fair. And in a similar spirit, the contract can also handle massive changes in the cost of materials due to things like inflation. Imagine the price of plastic for our Lego bricks suddenly goes through the roof. Now, this is a big if. It only applies if the contract included special cost change schedules from the very beginning. But if it does, the payments can be adjusted to reflect those new prices. This protects everybody on really long projects from huge, unpredictable market swings. All right, you made it to the final section. Now it's time to lock in everything we've just learned. We're going to do a super quick quiz, run through the biggest takeaways, and then I'll give you a sneak peek at what we're covering next. Let's see how much you remember.
Okay, quiz question number 1. Who has the official right, the actual authority, according to the rulebook, to order a change on our Lego castle project? Is it A, the employer, B, the engineer, or C, the contractor? Think about it and lock in your answer. And question number 2. What do we call it when the builder comes up with that brilliant idea to improve the project and save some money in the process? Is that called A, a provisional sum, B, a variation by instruction, or C, value engineering? What do you think?
Okay, let's see the answers. For question 1, the correct answer is B, the engineer. They are the only one who can give that official instruction. And for question 2, it is C, value engineering, that awesome win-win for the contractor and the employer. So, how did you do? I bet you nailed them both.
So let's quickly recap the absolute key takeaways from Clause 13. First, only the engineer can order a variation. Second, the contractor has to follow the order, but they do have rights to object. Third, value engineering is an amazing tool that rewards smart ideas. Fourth, there's super clear step-by-step procedures for proposing and pricing changes. And finally, the contract has built-in fairness for when outside forces, like new laws or huge cost jumps, happen.
So, what's the big picture here? At the end of the day, Clause 13 is all about creating a fair, organized, and predictable system for dealing with change. Because on huge projects, change is going to happen. It's inevitable. This clause makes sure everyone knows the rules of the game, which prevents arguments and, most importantly, keeps the project moving forward.
And that leads us perfectly into what's coming up next. We've talked all about paying for changes, but what about paying for all the rest of the work? In our next explainer, we are diving deep into Clause 14, Contract Price and Payment. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss that one.
Hey, if this breakdown of Clause 13 was helpful for you, please go ahead and hit that like button. And you know what? If it wasn't, hit dislike. All the feedback helps us make these better for you. And please, drop down into the comments and let us know what you think or ask any questions you still have.
And finally, to make sure you don't miss our deep dive into Clause 14 and all the other guides we have planned, make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.